The spaceship hovered silently above the Amazon rainforest. Inside, 6 Vizari aliens watched their screens with great interest. Their vessel was completely invisible to human technology, or so they believed. Earth will make an excellent addition to our empire, said Commander Zrelth, his blue skin reflecting the glow of the control panel. These humans have resources we need, and their militaries are primitive compared to ours. Lieutenant Crixus nodded. Our cloaking technology is generations, beyond anything they possess. They cannot see us, hear us, or detect us in any way. The aliens had been observing Earth for 3 weeks. Today they focused on a small military research base at the edge of the dense jungle. The base was a collection of concrete buildings, surrounded by a tall fence. Soldiers patrolled the perimeter, their weapons looking simple and ineffective to the alien observers. Record everything, ordered Zrelth. We need to understand their weaknesses before the invasion fleet arrives. What the aliens didn't know was that their advanced technology created a very subtle electromagnetic disturbance. It was almost undetectable. Almost, but not quite. Inside the main building of the base, a young woman named Kate Winters stared at her computer screen with a confused expression. "Sir, I'm picking up something strange," she said, turning to her supervisor. "The readings don't make sense." Jack Foster looked up from his desk. At 35, he was the base's best scout and survival expert. His time in Special Forces had taught him to trust his instincts, and right now, those instincts were telling him something wasn't right. "What kind of readings?" he asked, walking over to Kate's station. "It's like a shadow in the electromagnetic spectrum. It keeps moving around the base perimeter. It's not natural, but it doesn't match any known equipment signatures either." Jack frowned. He had spent most of his life in jungles around the world. His father had been a wildlife biologist who had taught him how to read the environment, how to become one with it. Now something in his gut told him they were being watched. "How long has it been happening?" 3 days, Kate replied. "At first I thought it was equipment failure, but it's too consistent." Jack nodded and walked to the office of Base Commander Diane Collins. He knocked once and entered. "Commander, we may have a situation." Diane looked up from her paperwork. "What kind of situation, Foster?" "Kate's picking up strange readings around the base. I'd like permission to take a small team and check it out." "You think it's hostiles?" Diane asked, her expression serious. "I don't know. Could be new surveillance tech. Could be something else entirely." Diane considered this. "The jungle's been restless lately. The indigenous guides won't come near the base anymore. They say the birds and animals are behaving strangely." "I noticed that too," Jack said quietly. "Something's disturbing the natural patterns out there." High above them, the aliens continued their observations, completely unaware that they had already been detected. "Humans are so oblivious," said Crixus with amusement. "Look at them, scurrying around with their primitive devices." Commander Zrelth zoomed in on Jack as he exited the commander's office. "This one moves differently than the others. Mark him for study." Back on the ground, Jack assembled a small team. Kate for communications, Ben Cooper for medical support, and Ryan West for additional security. "We go in light and quiet," Jack instructed. "Standard communication protocols, but if anything feels off, we go dark immediately." "What exactly are we looking for?" asked Ben. Jack checked his equipment. Jack led his team into the jungle. The thick canopy above them filtered the sunlight into thin beams that barely reached the forest floor. The air was heavy with moisture and the rich smell of soil and plants. "Stay close," Jack said quietly. "The jungle can swallow you whole if you're not careful." Kate checked her handheld device. "The readings are stronger in this direction," she said, pointing east. The team moved carefully through the undergrowth. Jack walked in front, his eyes constantly scanning their surroundings. He moved with the ease of someone who belonged in this environment. Above them, the Vizari ship followed silently. The aliens watched the humans with growing interest. "They seem to be following a path," Crixus noted. "Could they possibly be tracking us?" "Impossible," said Zrelth. "They must be on a regular patrol. Their primitive technology cannot detect our presence. On the ground, Jack stopped suddenly and raised his hand. The team froze in place. "What is it?" Ben whispered. Jack didn't answer immediately. He closed his eyes and listened. The jungle had gone quiet, too quiet. No birds called, no insects buzzed. "Something's wrong," he said finally. "The jungle is afraid." Ryan looked confused. "The jungle can't be afraid, it's just plants and animals." Jack shook his head. "The jungle is alive. It communicates. My father taught me to listen to it." 20 years earlier, Jack had followed his father deep into the Amazon rainforest. His father, a respected wildlife biologist, had spent years living with indigenous tribes, learning their ways. "The jungle speaks to those who know how to listen," his father had told him. "Every sound, every silence has meaning." Now Jack used those lessons as he studied their surroundings. "Kate, what are the readings showing?" he asked. "The anomaly is directly above us," she said with surprise. "But that's not possible, there's nothing there." Jack looked up but saw only leaves and patches of sky, yet his instincts screamed that they were being watched. "We're going to split up," he announced. "Ryan and Ben head back to base and report what we found. Kate and I will continue tracking the anomaly." "Is that safe?" Ben asked. "No," Jack admitted. "But it's necessary. If something happens to us, the base needs to know." After Ryan and Ben left, Jack turned to Kate. "I'm going to try something. It might seem strange, but I need you to trust me." Kate nodded. "What's the plan?" "We're going to disappear." In the Vizari ship, the aliens observed the team splitting up with interest. "The other two humans are returning to their base," reported an alien technician. "Should we follow them?" "No," said Zrelth. "Stay with the primary subject." He pointed at Jack on the screen. "This one seems more aware than the others. I want to study his behavior more closely." On the ground, Jack led Kate deeper into the jungle. He moved differently now, his steps careful and deliberate. "We need to go dark," he whispered. "No electronic equipment. They might be tracking our signals." Kate looked skeptical, but turned off her devices. "How will we find what we're looking for?" "We won't," Jack said. "We'll let it find us, but on our terms." He began collecting materials from the jungle, leaves, mud, and branches. He showed Kate how to smear mud on her exposed skin and how to attach leaves to her clothing. "Natural camouflage," he explained. "The oldest trick in the book." In the ship, the aliens watched with amusement. "What are they doing?" asked Crixus. "Covering themselves in dirt? How primitive." Zrelth wasn't laughing. "They're adapting to their environment." "Interesting." Jack looked up again, his eyes narrowing. "Whatever's out there, it's watching us right now," he whispered to Kate. "I can feel it." "What do we do?" she asked. Jack's expression hardened. "We show them that humans aren't as primitive as they think. The jungle is our ally, not our enemy. And now," he said as he finished applying the last of the mud to his face, "we're going to teach them why Earth has always been dangerous to invaders." One last time. "Anything that doesn't belong in a jungle, Kate will track the anomalies. The rest of us keep our eyes and ears open." As they prepared to move out, Jack looked up at the clear blue sky. For a brief moment, he thought he saw a shimmer in the air, like heat rising from hot pavement. But when he blinked, it was gone. "Let's move," he said quietly. "Whatever's out, there, we're going to find it." The Vizari watched with curiosity as the small team headed toward the jungle's edge. "Should we relocate?" asked Crixus. Zrelth's mouth formed what passed for a smile among his species. "No. Let them search. They'll find nothing. Our technology is perfect." It was the first of many mistakes the aliens would make about humans. Jack moved through the jungle like a ghost. Each step was careful and quiet. He touched plants gently, moved branches slowly, and left almost no trail. Kate tried to copy him but found it difficult. She stepped on twigs that snapped loudly and brushed against leaves that rustled. "Sorry," she whispered after a particularly loud misstep. Jack smiled. It takes years to learn this. Just try to step where I step. They continued deeper into the jungle. The trees grew thicker here, and less. Light reached the ground. Jack stopped occasionally to study the environment. He would touch the bark of trees, smell the air, and listen. Above them, the Visory ship hovered silently. The aliens were becoming increasingly fascinated by Jack's behavior. He moves like a predator, observed Crixus. Look how he uses the environment. Commander, Zrelth nodded. Most humans rely on their technology. This one uses his senses. It's concerning. Should we increase our distance? Asked another alien. No, Zrelth decided after a moment. I want to understand how he operates. Jack stopped suddenly and crouched down. Kate did the same beside him. Look, he whispered, pointing to a small area where the leaves on the ground were slightly disturbed. Something passed through here recently. Something that doesn't belong. Kate squinted. I don't see anything unusual. The pattern is wrong, Jack explained. Jungle animals leave specific trails. This doesn't match any of them. He studied the ground more carefully, then looked up at the trees. His eyes narrowed. Whatever it is, it's not just on the ground, he said quietly. It's above us, too. In the ship, the aliens were surprised. He's detected our scout probe, said the technician monitoring the small device they had sent down to get closer observations. Impossible, Zrelth said, but his voice lacked conviction. Recall the probe immediately. Jack watched as a slight disturbance moved through the tree canopy above them. The leaves swayed in a pattern that didn't match the breeze. He pointed silently and Kate nodded in understanding. It's time to change tactics, Jack whispered. He pulled out a small notepad and pencil. No electronics, he explained as he started, drawing a map. I'm going to continue alone from here, he told Kate. I need you to circle around to this position. He pointed to an area on his rough map. We're not supposed to separate, Kate protested. Trust me, Jack said. Whatever's watching us, it's focusing on me. You need to set up observation from another angle. If I'm right, our visitor isn't alone. Jack handed Kate a small pouch. Natural materials for signaling, he explained. Crushed berries, charcoal, and clay. If you see anything unusual, mark a tree with these. I'll be watching for them. Kate nodded and took the pouch. How will we find each other again? Jack pointed to a tall tree with distinctive red flowers. Meet back here in 3 hours, no matter what happens. As Kate moved away, taking a different path, Jack continued deeper into the jungle. Now he changed his movement pattern. Instead of trying to be silent, he deliberately made small noises. He wanted to be followed. In the Visory ship, the aliens faced a decision. The humans have separated, reported Jack moved deeper into the jungle. The air grew thick and warm. Sweat ran down his back, but he ignored it. His senses were fully alert. He had spent years training himself to notice small details that others missed. A group of monkeys suddenly scattered from the trees. Ahead, they moved fast, making alarm calls as they fled. Jack stopped and watched them. Animals didn't run like that without reason. Found you, he whispered. In the Visory ship, Commander Zrelth leaned forward with interest. He stopped. What is he doing? The alien technician adjusted their viewing screen. He appears to be observing local wildlife. Zoom in on his face, ordered Zrelth. The screen showed Jack's face clearly. His eyes were narrowed, scanning the trees where the monkeys had been. He's looking directly at the area where our probe is positioned, said Crixus with concern. Impossible, Zrelth said again, but with even less conviction. Jack began moving in a new direction. He no longer tried to be quiet. Instead, he moved with purpose, occasionally breaking branches or disturbing leaves. He wanted whatever was watching him to follow. After 20 minutes, he reached a small clearing. Dense vegetation surrounded it on all sides. Jack walked to the center and stopped. He took a deep breath and slowly turned in a circle, studying every detail of the jungle around him. I know you're there, he said aloud. You've been watching us since we left the base. In the ship, the aliens froze. "Is he speaking to us?" asked Crixus. Zrelth didn't answer. He was too focused on the human's behavior. Jack continued to speak. "You're good. Your technology is impressive. But you made one mistake." He pointed to the trees around the clearing. "You disturbed the patterns." The jungle lived and breathed in patterns. Birds flew in certain ways. Insects made specific sounds. Leaves moved with the wind in predictable directions. Jack had learned to read these patterns since childhood. Now he saw the subtle wrongness where the alien's probe disturbed the natural flow. "Commander," said the technician nervously, "he's describing our presence with surprising accuracy." Zrelth made a quick decision. "Send down 2 more probes. I want to observe him from multiple angles." 3 small devices, each the size of a human fist, moved silently through the trees. They were nearly invisible, covered with a material that bent light around them. The only sign of their presence was the slight movement of leaves as they passed. Jack noticed immediately. He smiled. Kate, meanwhile, had reached her position on the other side of the clearing. She hid herself well, just as Jack had taught her. From her vantage point, she could see strange distortions in the air, like heat waves but more defined. She carefully took out the pouch of natural materials Jack had given her. With steady hands, she marked a nearby tree with 3 vertical lines of red berry juice. Jack saw the mark from across the clearing. 3 lines meant multiple objects. Kate had seen them too. Good. He began to implement the next phase of his plan. Jack bent down and picked up a handful of soil. He slowly rubbed it on his arms and face, adding to the camouflage he'd already applied. Then he took off his shirt and rubbed mud across his chest and back. "Commander, what is the human doing now?" asked Crixus. "More primitive camouflage," Zrelth replied, but there was uncertainty in his voice. Jack finished applying the mud and then looked directly at the nearest probe. The aliens couldn't know that he couldn't actually see their technology. He was working on instinct, reading the jungle's reactions, but his stare was so accurate that the aliens felt as if he could see them perfectly. "My turn to disappear," Jack said with a smile. Then he stepped backward into the dense foliage at the edge of the clearing. "Rixus. Should we track both of them?" Zrelth considered this. "Send a second probe to follow the female. I'll continue observing the male myself." "Commander," warned another alien, "if they've detected one probe, they might detect others." "These are just primitive humans," Zrelth said dismissively. "The male's awareness is unusual, but it's nothing compared to our technology." Jack paused beside a stream and knelt to drink. He cupped water in his hands and sipped slowly, all while scanning his surroundings. He could feel eyes on him. The sensation had grown stronger in the last hour. "Come on," he whispered to himself. "Show me what you are." In the alien ship, alarms suddenly sounded. The screens tracking Jack went blank. "Where is he?" demanded Zrelth. "Find him immediately." The technicians worked frantically at their controls. "We've lost visual contact, Commander. All 3 probes have lost track of him." "Impossible!" Zrelth slammed his fist on the control panel. "He's just one primitive human. How can our technology lose him?" "The jungle is too dense," explained Crixus. "The vegetation blocks our sensors, and his natural camouflage is confusing our visual systems." Zrelth paced the small command center. Switched to heat detection. The screens changed to show heat signatures in the jungle. They could see various animals, but no sign of Jack. "He couldn't have moved that quickly," said Zrelth. "Expand the search area." The view on the screens widened. Still nothing. In the jungle, Jack moved silently through the undergrowth. His father had taught him more than just observation. He had learned from indigenous tribes who had lived in the Amazon for thousands of years. He knew how to match his body temperature to his surroundings by controlling his breathing and heart rate. The mud on his skin helped mask his heat signature. Jack reached a tree with thick vines. He climbed it quickly, moving 20 feet above the ground. From this position, he could see one of the distortions in the air that revealed the presence of an alien probe. It was moving back and forth, searching for him. Jack smiled. Now he was the hunter. In another part of the jungle, Kate continued to observe. She had marked 3 more trees, creating a rough map of the strange distortions she had seen. Something very unusual was happening, and she was determined to document it all. A twig snapped nearby. Kate froze, pressing herself against a tree trunk. One of the distortions was coming closer to her position. She held her breath. Back in the command ship, Crixus reported, "We've located the female human. She's remaining stationary." "Keep tracking her," ordered Zrelth. "But find the male. He's the primary target." "Commander," said a technician nervously, "I think Probe 2 is malfunctioning. It stopped sending data." "Check the systems," ordered Zrelth. Before the technician could respond, the screen showing Probe 2 briefly flickered to life. It showed a close-up image of a mud-covered human face staring directly into the probe. Jack's eyes seemed to look straight through the camera and into the alien ship. Then the screen went dark again. Zrelth felt something he had never experienced before, a cold sensation in his stomach. Was it fear? Impossible. His species was technologically superior to humans in every way. "He disabled the probe," said Crixus, in disbelief. "But how? He shouldn't even be able to see it." In the jungle, Jack carefully examined the small device he had captured. It was about the size of his fist, with a smooth metallic surface that seemed to shift colors to match its surroundings. There were no obvious controls or openings. He had disabled it by packing. Kate waited at the meeting point, hidden among thick ferns. She checked the position of the sun. Almost 3 hours had passed since she and Jack had separated. She worried about him but stayed focused on her task. The strange distortions in the air had become more frequent in the last hour. Something was searching the jungle intensely. A bird call sounded nearby, 3 short notes followed by a longer one. Kate smiled with relief. It was Jack's signal. She responded with a similar call. Jack appeared beside her so suddenly that she almost gasped. His mud-covered body blended perfectly with the jungle. "You're good at this," she whispered. Jack nodded. "Got something to show you." He carefully unwrapped the alien probe from his belt. Kate's eyes widened. "What is that?" "Our visitor," Jack said quietly. "At least part of it. There are more of these things moving through the jungle. I think they're being controlled from above." Kate studied the device. "It's like nothing I've ever seen. The material, it almost seems to shift." "It bends light," Jack explained. "That's how they stay hidden." He pointed to the areas where he had packed mud. "I blocked what I think are sensors. It stopped working after that." In the Vizari ship, panic was spreading. The loss of the probe was bad enough, but the implications were worse. "The human has one of our probes," Crixus reported. "Our technology is in their hands." Commander Zrelth's skin had darkened with stress. "This changes everything. We must recover that probe immediately." "Should we send down retrieval units?" asked a technician. Zrelth hesitated. The mission was supposed to be observation only. Direct contact with humans was forbidden at this stage. "No," he decided. "We'll use the remaining probes, track the humans back to their base. Once they're there, we'll find a way to retrieve our technology." Back in the jungle, Jack and Kate had devised a plan. Jack took out his small notebook and made a quick sketch of the jungle around them. He marked their current position and the locations where Kate had spotted the distortions. "They're watching us, studying us," Jack said. "But we're going to turn this around. I want to see who they are." Kate looked concerned. "How do we do that?" "We make them reveal themselves," Jack answered. He pointed to a large clearing about half a mile away. "We need to get them to follow us there. Open ground will make it harder for them to hide." "But won't that make it harder for us too?" Kate asked. Jack smiled. "Not if we're prepared." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small radio. "Time to call for backup." In the Vizari ship, the aliens watched as Jack and Kate began moving again. "They're heading toward a clearing," reported Crixus. "Should we follow?" "Of course," snapped Zrelth. "Don't lose them again." The alien commander was worried. This human, this Jack, had shown capabilities that defied their intelligence reports. Humans were supposed to be dependent on their technology. easy to observe and eventually conquer. But this one moved like he was part of the jungle itself. He had spotted their probes, captured one, and repeatedly evaded their sensors. As Jackie and Kate neared the clearing, Jack activated the radio. "Base, this is Foster. Authentication code Delta 79, we have a situation." Commander Diane's voice came through clearly. "Go ahead, Foster." "We've got visitors," Jack said. "Not from around here. We've captured some of their tech. Request, Eagle Team at coordinates I'm about to transmit." "Understood," Diane replied. "Eagle Team is spinning up now. ETA 20 minutes. Jack put away the radio and turned to Kate. "Now we wait." In the ship, the aliens had intercepted the transmission. "They're calling for reinforcements," Crixus said urgently. "We should leave now." Zrelth shook his head. "No. We need that probe. Back. We'll wait for these reinforcements to arrive, then decide our next move." Jack led Kate to the edge of the clearing. They concealed themselves in the thick vegetation. "What are we really doing?" Kate whispered. Jack's eyes scanned the sky. "We're fishing," he said. "And I think they're about to bite into what looked like sensor arrays." Jack took a piece of charcoal from his pocket and made a quick sketch of the device on a large leaf. Then he wrapped the probe in vines and secured it to his belt. Evidence. He moved through the trees toward where he had arranged to meet Kate. On the way, he stopped at each tree she had marked, studying the patterns she had recorded. The picture was becoming clear. There were at least 3 of these devices, and they seemed to be controlled from somewhere above the jungle. Jack looked up through gaps in the canopy. He couldn't see anything unusual in the sky, but he was now certain they were being watched from above. "Let's see how you handle this," he whispered as he continued moving silently through the trees. Jack and Kate waited quietly at the edge of the clearing. The jungle sounds had returned to normal around them, which told Jack that the alien devices had moved away. He knew they were still watching, but from a distance now. "Eagle Team will be here soon," Kate whispered. "What's the real plan?" Jack checked the captured probe again. "We need to force them to show themselves. These devices are just tools. Somewhere up there," he pointed to the sky, "is whoever is controlling them." "You think they're aliens?" Kate asked, her voice a mix of fear and excitement. Jack nodded. "Nothing human made this technology, and nothing human moves through the jungle the way these things do." The sound of helicopter rotors broke the silence. Eagle Team was approaching. In the Vizari ship, the aliens watched the helicopter appear on their screens. "Human reinforcements have arrived," reported Crixus. 6 individuals heavily armed. Commander Zrelth studied the images. "They've brought weapons. This is escalating beyond our mission parameters." "We should leave now," urged Crixus. "The probe is not worth the risk of discovery." Zrelth's pride fought with his logic. His mission was already compromised. A human had captured their technology. If he left now, he would be disgraced. But if he stayed and made contact, he would violate the most basic exploration protocols. "Fine," he said finally. "Prepare for departure. But first, activate the self-destruct mechanism on the captured probe." The technician entered commands on his console. After a moment, he looked up with concern. "No response from the probe, Commander. The human must have damaged its receiver." Zrelth slammed his hand down again. "Send the remaining probes to retrieve it then." On the ground, the helicopter landed in the clearing. 6 soldiers in jungle camouflage jumped out, weapons ready. Commander Diane was with them. Jack and Kate emerged from their hiding place and approached. "Foster," Diane greeted him. "What have you found?" Jack held up the alien probe. "Visitors, Commander. They've been watching us." One of the soldiers examined the device. "I've never seen anything like this." "Neither have I," said Jack, "and I think they want it back." As if on cue, the air around them seemed to waver. 2 distortions moved toward them from opposite sides of the clearing. "Everyone stay still," Jack commanded. "They're here." The soldiers raised their weapons. Diane looked up as a shadow passed over the clearing. "Above us," she said quietly. For the first time, the Vizari ship's cloaking wavered. The stress of rapid movement and the ship's preparation for departure had caused a momentary fluctuation in its stealth systems. For just a few seconds, a massive oval shape became visible in the sky above the clearing. "My God," breathed Diane. Jack kept his eyes on the approaching distortions. The alien probes were moving faster now, heading directly for the one he held. "They want their technology back," Jack said. "Let's make a deal." He stepped forward into the center of the clearing, holding the probe up high. "We know you're there," he called out. "We can see your ship. We have your device. If you want it back, show yourselves." The blue alien hologram flickered slightly as it studied Jack. The clearing had gone completely silent. Even the jungle seemed to be holding its breath. "I am Commander Zrelth of the Vizari Exploration Fleet," the alien said. "You have something that belongs to us." Jack stood tall, still holding the probe. "And you've been spying on us. I'm Jack Foster, and this is Earth. We don't appreciate uninvited guests." Commander Diane stepped forward to stand beside Jack. "I'm Base Commander Diane Collins of the United States military. Are your intentions hostile?" The hologram shifted slightly. "We are observers only. Our mission was to study your species without interference." "That didn't work out too well for you," Jack said with a slight smile. Drelth's large eyes narrowed. "You were not supposed to detect our presence. Our technology is far superior to yours." "Technology isn't everything," Jack replied. He gestured to the jungle around them. "This is our home. We know every sound, every pattern. Your devices disturb those patterns." In the ship above, Crixus was frantically reviewing their mission data. "Commander, our records show no previous human has detected our observation probes on any planet. This is unprecedented." Zrelth's hologram continued the conversation. "How did you find our probe? How did you disable it? Our sensors showed no advanced technology in use." Jack tapped his temple. "I used this, and these." He pointed to his eyes and ears. "The jungle taught me everything I needed to know." The alien seemed confused. "Impossible. Natural senses cannot detect our cloaking technology." Kate stepped forward. "He didn't need to see your devices directly. He saw how they affected everything else. The animals, the plants, the air currents. Jack reads the jungle like you read your instruments," Diane addressed the alien commander. "What were your plans after observation?" The hologram paused before answering. "Information gathering only, for now." "For now," Jack repeated. "That doesn't sound friendly." Above them, the massive alien ship had become fully visible. Its oval shape gleamed in the sunlight, metallic surface reflecting the green of the jungle below. "We are many light years ahead of your civilization," said Zrelth. "Our exploration always precedes other considerations." "Invasion," Diane said, flatly. The alien did not deny it. "Your planet has resources our people need." Jack shook his head. "You might want to reconsider that plan." He held up the probe. "If one human with mud on his face can capture your technology, imagine what would happen if you tried to invade." Zrelth's hologram flickered again. "You are unusual for your species." "Not as unusual as you think," Jack replied. "There are millions like me on Earth, people who understand their environment, who live with it instead of just using technology to overcome it. Your fancy ships and invisible probes won't help you here." The alien was silent for a long moment. Finally it spoke. "Return our probe. We will depart your world." Jack looked at Diane, who nodded. He stepped forward and placed the probe on the ground in the center of the hologram's light. "A piece of advice," Jack said. "Earth isn't like other planets you might have visited. We're adaptable. We survive. Coming back would be a mistake." The probe rose into the air and disappeared into the ship. The hologram began to fade. "Your assessment will be noted in our records," Zrelth said. "Earth will be classified as high risk for colonization." "Good choice," Jack said. The hologram vanished. The ship's engines hummed, and then it shot upward, disappearing into the clouds. Everyone in the clearing stared at the empty sky. After a moment, Kate broke the silence. "Do you think they'll come back?" Jack looked at the jungle that had helped him defeat an alien species with technology far beyond human capabilities. If they're smart, no, he said. But if they do, he smiled and gestured to the dense green world around them. The jungle and I will be waiting. In the Vizari ship, Zrelth watched in horror as their cloaking failed. They've seen us, said Crixus. Full diplomatic protocols are now in effect. Zrelth knew what that meant. Once visual contact was confirmed, they were required to follow first contact procedures. Their mission of secret observation was over. Open communications, he ordered reluctantly. As the soldiers and scientists watched in amazement, a beam of light shot down from the now visible ship. It formed a circle on the ground about 10 feet in diameter. Within the circle, a holographic image appeared, a blue-skinned alien with large eyes and a slender body. Human, the image said in perfect English. You have surprised us. Jack stepped forward, unafraid. And you've been watching us. I think it's time we talked face to face.